All right, this week I want to get back into the idea of supplements. Now, the idea of supplements you got to remember is that they're mental, and that you have to have your nutrition in order, in set, pretty much spot spot on, in check, whatever you want to say. That pretty much needs to be like the first and foremost. So because if your diet is complete shit, supplements aren't going to fix that shitty diet and everything. So if you're eating McDonald's and Burger King all day every day, the supplements aren't going to help you worth jack shit and everything. So you have to sit there and have your nutrition in check first. So instead of eating McDonald's and Burger King 24/7, you want to make sure that instead of getting like a Big Mac, maybe you make your own burgers at home and everything. Get ground beef from the store, and of course with nutrition, first and foremost, you want to find something that you can stick with long term. Because if you try keto and you can't do it, you can only do it for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. Yeah, that's not going to work either. So if you can only do keto for 2 or 3 weeks, but you can do carnivore for forever, then stick with carnivore. The same thing goes with any other approach, whether vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, paleo, whatever works for you that you can stick with long term. Oh, hey, look, of course I just use these terms to kind of convey the idea of oh, hey, this is this certain type of eating and everything. So you could end up disregard all those labels and okay, these are the kind of the foods I like. Okay, these are fruits and veggies I like to eat on a regular basis. These are the protein sources I like to eat on regular basis. Oh, it just so happens that it kind of falls under this the paleo umbrella term or whatever. So kind of have to drive that home first and foremost. Your nutrition needs to be in check first before you start getting into supplements. Now, where the supplements come in is to kind of fix those gaps that you are going to have in your nutritional approach. Like for me, I tend to be kind of a low in iron intake. So what I do is I take an iron supplement 3 times a week, and that helps kind of keep my iron levels in check and everything. So that's kind of a personal example that I can use to kind of hey, look, this is what the supplementation does for you in that it fills those gaps and everything. So first and foremost, I always say a multivitamin, kind of that's kind of your insurance policy to make sure you're getting all those micronutrients that you need, all the vitamins and minerals. So the vitamins the vitamin A, B vitamins, C, there's D, E, and K. And of course, you got a ton of minerals. There's a zinc, there's iron, copper, manganese, magnesium, potassium, sodium. Those are just to name a few. Everything that I can think right off the top of my head and everything. So that's where a multivitamin comes in handy, or kind of as I said, an insurance policy to kind of oh, hey, look, I'm getting at least a baseline of all those micronutrients and everything. Protein powder, yeah, is a great way to increase your protein intake and everything, especially if you're not only physically active but you're lifting a lot. It's the consensus seems to be 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, of course, I've said before, someone could say oh, I'm 300 pounds, so it's going to be kind of hard to get 300 grams of protein in a day with lowering my caloric intake while trying to lose weight. So in a case like that, you might want to see maybe 1 gram per lean pound of body weight and everything. So, but the general consensus me, I'm about 165. I usually my weight tends to fluctuate a little, which is kind of common that you're going to find that your weight does fluctuate a few pounds. So I've lost a few pounds as one of my cats wants to be in the video. Yes, we're talking all about food. Yeah, you're eating too, huh? Yes. Yes. All right. Go eat again, huh? Yeah. There we go. Now that he's done his appearance and everything, so I'm roughly 166, 167. So that means I would in essence need to take in 166, 167 grams of protein. Now I know like Athlete X and everything talks about like maybe upping that, like especially if you're lifting to like maybe 1.2 grams per pound. So I tend to shoot to like 190 200 grams of protein a day. That comes out to about like 1.3, and I lift regularly, and I do like right now I'm finishing up the Built for Hollywood program. So I'm doing 3 days of lifting and 3 days of conditioning and everything. So that 190 to 200 grams seems to be like the good range for me. So like that 1 gram per pound of body weight is a good start. Then you can kind of adjust, like I using myself as an example, adjust it up a little. So this is where like the protein powder comes in help in handy, because you could be getting maybe say 150 grams of protein from food. Well, I'm just shy of maybe getting like that 165 I need. Getting like a good quality protein where you're getting like 30 grams of protein per scoop, that would put you up to 180, and so that would, as you can see, help you supplement your protein intake with the protein powder and everything. Fish oil would be good, is another good one, because you got those omega 3s, and your helps with like the anti-inflammatory aspects of the omega 3s and everything. So like the multivitamin, protein powder, fish oil, and creatine is probably one of the most underrated, a lot of times underrated supplements that people don't realize that it's not just a lifting supplement, because there's a lot of research that has and is coming out that, hey, look, it has a lot of cognitive benefit and everything. So they say with the cognitive benefits, you want to take like 10 grams, and the amount of creatine that you'd find in foods like steak and salmon and stuff to get that baseline of 5 grams, you'd have to eat it's something ridiculous, like 2 or 3 steaks a day just to get that 5 grams. And it's like, yeah, there's no way I'd be able to. Most people, there no way to be able to do that with keeping your caloric intake within a range where you're not constantly gaining weight, even with being physically active. So creatine monohydrate is like the most common one out there, and it's pretty much like dirt cheap. So there are the people that'll say like you do a loading phase, like, oh yes, 20 grams, so you can get your for like the first 2 weeks or something, so you can get your body saturated and everything. You don't you can, and you don't necessarily need to though, but it's going to be slightly slower to get you your body saturated with the creatine and everything. But with like I said, the cognitive benefits, 10 grams, people like me, I don't do just the 20 grams into the saturated, then oh yes, I'm good. I tend to do the 20 grams myself, because again, using the example that I lift and I'm doing conditioning and everything, the kind of help like uh, make sure I get that buffer zone. So I usually tend to shoot for 15 to 20 grams a day with creatine. So I would say do at least the 10 to get not only the lifting benefits of the 5 grams, but also the cognitive benefits of, let's say, 10 grams. So if you're doing at least 10, you're good. So now, of course, creatine monohydrates, like I said, dirt cheap and everything. You might be one of those people that has one of the few people that have in the minority have digestive issues with the monohydrates. So there are different forms like the HCl and the crealkaline. Those are slightly more expensive, but for most people like myself, creatine who does not have issues, digestive issues, the creatine monohydrate, just go with that. And it's you can usually end up spending 30-35 bucks for a 2 or 3 month supply and everything. So again, they're cheap. So multivitamin, like a fish oil, protein powder, and creatine would be your first four go-to ones to, and then the kind of round out the fifth one. Look into maybe something that of micronutrients that you're still maybe deficient in. Like I mentioned with me, iron. So that would kind of round out the top five. Now you go into start looking into other ones that are not necessary but beneficial, like a pre-workout. I kind of chunk that into like a not necessary, because you don't need a pre-workout to do like a workout. And now it's beneficial in the sense that like you could take it and like it could be like a, even if it's just like a psychological thing where like, oh hey, I just did my I just took this pre-workout, now I have to do my workout, even if it's like a psychological thing. It could, like I said, it could be beneficial but not necessary. So like it's like the stuff like that, and like of course like the pre-workout, the if you're someone who does do long workouts, like an intra workout is like another not necessary but beneficial, like a supplement. And the same thing like the post workout, like maybe something that like you're getting like maybe some electrolytes and like some like dextrose or something to kind of like help like boost your like glucose levels like post workout or something. So like again, those three are like beneficial but not necessary. So like after you get those like that top five that I mentioned, like of multivitamin, creatine, protein powder, and fish oil, and like any micronutrients that you are still deficient in, then like you can start looking into like a if you have the means to like financial means. So like that's why like I say pre-workouts are like beneficial but not necessary. So again, to end this video, I'm going to reiterate, these supplements aren't going to do you jack shit if you don't have your nutrition in check first and foremost.